Welcome to the Humble ISD Advanced Learning Podcast, where our goal is to talk about anything and everything related to advanced learning in less time than it takes you to get from home to school or work. I'm Dr. Tom Uticrit, the Director of Advanced Learning for Humble ISD. So we're continuing our college admissions conversation today, where we get to talk to college admissions representatives from schools and colleges and universities from all over the nation that our students are interested in. And so today, I'm joined by Tiffany Easley. She is a prospective student recruiter for the Blinn College District. Tiffany, thanks for being on today.
Thanks, Tom, for having me. I really love what y'all are doing here with this podcast and what you're promoting. So I'm really excited to join you today and talk a lot about Blinn and what we offer.
Awesome. So let's start out and talk a little bit more about Blinn. Some people might be familiar, some people might not. So what would you say is the thing about Blinn that people are really, it's notable for?
Well, I think the first thing that always pops to everybody's head when they think about Blinn is they think about Texas A&M, because we are in the Blinn College Station, about 8 minutes from Texas A&M. And so there's that misconception that Blinn is a subsidiary of Texas A&M, and we are not. We are our own own entity on our own. So we are not owned by Texas A&M, but we have a really good business partner relationship with them. So I think that's the number one misconception that everybody has of Blinn, is that we are a part of Texas A&M, but we're not.
Okay, and so Blinn, really, let's unpack that a little bit more, right? Because I know that there's a Blinn campus in College Station, right? But Blinn is more than that, right? Aren't there other locations?
So we have a total of 6 campuses actually in the state of Texas. So we have our Bryan campus, which is in Bryan, and then we have our Rellis campus, which is in Rellis, which is College Station, and it is owned, that Rellis campus is owned by Texas A&M, but we have 2 buildings on that campus that we actually own, and that is the Blinn campus at the Rellis. Then we also have our brand new campus that is being built as we are speaking right now. It will be completely built and open for the fall in 2027. Right now they're taking limited classes, and that's our Waller campus. And so that's going to be our new big exciting building. So we're all super excited for that Waller campus to go up. But then we have Sealy, Schulenburg as well. And then we also have a lot of online classes too. So you don't have to necessarily live in the area to attend Blinn. Okay, so
what then attracts students to Blinn? Like, what kind of student says, I want to attend Blinn College?
So it also depends on your campus. We also, we have our Brenham campus, which is going to be our main campus. That's where Old Main is. It's where it all started is at the Brenham campus. And the Brenham campus is really going to give you that traditional 4-year college feel on a 2-year campus. We have dorms there, the housing there. We have sports there. We are a D1 sport junior college. So a lot of people don't realize that about us. And our sports program is actually amazing. So we've produced over 60 NFL players from Blinn, with the most notable one being Cam Newton coming from Blinn. Our baseball team has had 3 World Series appearances, and we actually won the World Series last year. So we have a really good sports and athletics program. We have our agriculture program, our livestock team. They win everywhere they go. They have trophies and buckles and ribbons to show off. And so we have a really good agriculture department. So you have that Brenham campus that really gives you that 4-year feel just on that 2-year campus. So it's not so scary going to college. And then you have our Bryan campus. So 85% of the students on the Bryan campus are pretty much going to be transfers into Texas A&M. Our Rellis campus is going to focus more on STEM. So for those sciences, healthcare professional majors, those engineering, technology, they're going to really excel at the Rellis campus. The Rellis campus is exciting, and it has lots of cool things that are happening out there. So we have a little bit of something for everybody. It just depends on what you want to do. And then for those that aren't really ready to leave home yet, but maybe they want something a little bit different, especially being in the Houston area and stuff. You have a lot of HCC people or Lone Star people, and they don't necessarily want that. They want to go out a little bit, but they're kind of scared to go to that 4-year university. So we offer them that alternative as well.
Okay. Now, you've mentioned this a couple of different times now when you think about that partnership with Texas A&M. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, what does that partnership look like? Because you said some people are confused that maybe like you guys are not Texas A&M, but you've got a strong partnership. Yeah. So what does that look like as it relates to the student experience with that partnership?
So most of our Texas A&M transfer students are going to be on our Bryan campus, because that is about an 8 to 10 minute drive drive to the Texas A&M campus. You really are immersed in Aggie land culture and everything. And so a lot of our Blinn students that are not from the area and they're living in student housing in Bryan College Station, they're living with Texas A&M students as well. So they're really intertwined with each other. They're going to games together. They're going to class together. And something that a lot of people don't know is you can be a full-time Texas A&M student and still take a class at Blinn. So if there's a class that, I might not do so well sitting in this large lecture hall with, I need something that's a little bit smaller and more of an intimate learning environment, come take it at Blinn. You pass it, you transfer that grade right over to A&M, and it does not affect your GPA with Texas A&M. So you have a lot of that immersion of A&M students with Blinn students. They're very much combined together. So you still get that A&M feel while you're a Blinn student. But then we have the partnerships too. We have Blinn teams. We have the TEABS. We have the engineering co-enrollment programs and stuff. So there's a lot of different things that we do with Texas A&M that Blinn can help you get there if that's your ultimate destination.
Okay, so are you saying that some of these programs, you mentioned like your Blinn teams and all that, is that almost like an admission route for students to get into A&M? Like, what does that look like?
With Blinn teams, that's probably our most popular one that students are starting to recognize more and more. You are actually co-enrolled. You are a Texas A&M student, but you're also a Blinn student. So you're going to take a certain amount of classes with A&M, and you're going to take a certain amount of classes with Blinn. And you have to do it for the duration of that program. And you maintain your grades so you don't get kicked out of that program and stuff. But you still have to make sure you're meeting the requirements that A&M puts on you too, so you can continue to move forward into A&M. But at the get-go, you are an A&M student as well as a Blinn student.
Okay, so when you think about kind of that Blinn district, right? Because you did mention several other campuses and other programs, and I know maybe a good chunk of kids might be thinking, okay, I want to think about Blinn as a part of a pathway into A&M. But for those that might not be thinking that, what are some of the other notable programs or other things that Blinn has to offer for a student that might not be thinking about going to A&M? Like, what are those things?
So we have other partnerships with like UTSA and their engineering department, and we have partnerships with Sam Houston State. But we also are a junior college too, but we have our own degree programs, 68 of them total. But we also have the workforce too. So not every student is looking to transfer to A&M, and not every student is looking to transfer to a four-year university. Some students want to come and just get that associate's degree, or they want to come and get a certification, or they're looking at, hey, I want to go to the oil field, but I want to be a welder in the oil field. So come and get your welding certification with us, or your welding associate's degree, and then you can go off into the workforce. So we do have that workforce trade programs too that we offer those different classes and programs for our students as well that they can come, and some of them are completely online. So.
Okay. So I know we've gotten a chance to hear from some of our other community college partners, Lone Star College, San Jacinto College, just to name a few. Are there specific, whether workforce programs or certifications, that you would say Blinn is known for? Maybe like a signature workforce program? Is there anything like that?
I would just say our workforce programs in general, we have the Ascend program, which is going to be an accelerated nursing program, and that is in a partnership with A&M that we have as well for those that are going into nursing. They can go into the Ascend program after they do their first semester of the ADN program with Blinn. So our nursing program is really popular, and then our engineering program is pretty popular too, because you do have that partnership with us in our engineering program with UTSA and with Texas A&M. So you have a little more options there. I would say in general, just the variety that we offer, and it goes back to that notability of being in Bryan College Station. That's pretty much what I would say most people associate us with.
Okay. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about that though, right? Because I know in a lot of conversations with students and families, as they're thinking about planning out their post-high school life, and they might think to themselves, okay, I do really want to pursue engineering. I do really want to pursue things like nursing. But then they think to themselves, if I don't get into A&M or any other school, right? But we'll use A&M as an example here. If I don't get into A&M, man, it's almost like this feeling of, is my dream dead, right? Am I not going to be able to be an engineer at A&M because I didn't get to A&M as a freshman? Or am I not going to get my bachelor's in nursing because I didn't get into A&M? Can we talk a little bit about like that pathway?
Oh yeah, we see that all the time where, oh my gosh, my dream is going to be so crushed because I didn't get that A&M acceptance. And it's, A&M is becoming increasingly more harder and harder to get into. And so we're like, that's okay. Come to us. We're going to help you. We'll give you that stepping stone to get to that ultimate destination. So you can come and you can do our ADN program. And it is a 2-year program. You'll get your associate's degree. You will be an RN. And then you can go forward. And as long as you make sure you're meeting those requirements, doing your studies and keeping your grades up, we can then get you right into A&M. You just do what you got to do, one step at a time. And so it gives that hope back to those students. And a lot of times they feel crushed because, I didn't get that. That's okay. We're just going to go kind of an alternative pathway to get you to where you're going to be. Because at the end of it all, that bachelor's degree is going to say Texas A&M. It's not going to say I started at Blinn.
Right. And I think that is so great to hear because I'm telling you, the number of families that they just think that this is the path, that this is the thing. And then all of a sudden life happens and they kind of get derailed, right? Like, oh man, I had my sight set on, and again, we're using A&M as an example here, but there's a tons of other schools. And I love hearing the fact that, hey, even if it doesn't work out exactly that way, there's still another way, right? I think so many times it's like, oh, if I don't start engineering as a freshman at A&M, then what's going to happen, right? But
I'm
love
not
getting
going
to
to get there. I'm not going to get that. And I think, too, that students tend to focus more on, I've got to get to that school. And they don't think about sometimes the other aspect is, okay, you might get into that school, but can you pay for that school? And so we tend to be about 40% cheaper on the scale from 4-year public universities. So we can save you that money, too. And that doesn't always tend to be something that students are focused on because they're just focused on, I've got to get that acceptance. My friend got that acceptance. I need that acceptance too. And so we always tell them, hey, our goal is to get you out making money, not owing money. So we want to help you with that. And that's one thing Blinn is so good about doing is let's sit down, let's talk about it. Let's look at what your ultimate goal is and different pathways. And when we get these students in our office or when we're in a career fair or a college fair or in the high schools and stuff, and we really get to start talking to them, you can see it start to look and open up in their eyes and stuff. And they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah. I didn't think I could do that.
Well, and can we talk a little bit about class size too, right? Because one of the things that we know, right, especially for in-state public schools, that students have to complete that Texas core curriculum, right? So whether I'm going to Blinn, A&M, Lone Star, you name it, there's going to be those classes, those college basic core classes that I've got to take. But can we talk about the difference between like taking that class at Blinn as opposed to maybe a lecture hall at Texas A&M?
Oh yeah, you get your lecture halls and you're 300, 400, 500 students in one class, and that's a really hard learning environment. And so our class sizes are roughly around 24. So we're going to provide that smaller, more intimate learning facility for you. So you're going to have that intimate learning ability. You're going to know your professor. Your professor's going to know you, your face. You're not just a number. So you're going to get to know your classmates. It's going to feel like you're just a little bit of that small pebble outside of high school. And that class might actually even be smaller than what some of your high school classes are at. I know some high school classes are probably up to 38, maybe 40 students in a class. So you're 24. It's that intimate learning environment that is really more successful for students versus these really intimidating large lecture halls that it is intimidating. How do you learn in that? And if you're not a strong, independent learner, you're going to struggle with that. And I have got 2 college kiddos myself, and that was one of the things that they told me all the time. Hey, Mom, these lecture halls, I'm not doing well. What do we do about this? And so we transferred, and they've done successful, and my son just graduated from Blinn. So he told me that same thing, too. Those lecture halls are really scary, and I don't know my professor. Yeah. And I don't know how to be successful in this. They're going so fast, and I don't know what to do. So we really have those small, intimate learning environments that I feel make a student more successful and prepare them to then go on to that 4-year if that's their next step.
Nice. Are there any other partnerships that Blinn has? Obviously, you said because of geography and everything else, there's a strong partnership with A&M. But what if I want to go to Blinn and I want to go somewhere else that's not A&M? Like, do you guys have any of those other partnerships?
We are one of the #1 transfer junior colleges in the state of Texas. So we can transfer your courses anywhere you want to go. Now, outside of the state, I can't tell you exactly where it would go. I know there's probably a few. I think OSU takes some of our credits, and Kansas State, I believe, does. But for as long as you're in a state of Texas public university, not private, we're on a public level. So all of our classes transfer and go with you. So you don't lose anything coming to us and taking our classes. So you'll be able to go wherever you want to go and you take them with you.
Can we talk a little bit about student life as a Blinn student, right? So let's say, and you mentioned a couple of different campuses, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it be the Brenham campus or the ones in Bryan College Station. If I'm a Blinn student, what does student life or campus life look like for me?
So we have tons of different organizations and activities that you can get involved in. Now, we don't do Greek life. As a junior college, we can't offer that, but we have lots of different other organizations that you can get involved in and be a part of. We have the SLA, which is the Student Leadership Activity Center, and that is going to be on all of our campus. There's an SLA center, and they can give you the list of all the different organizations. They have different events popped up, then posted that you can attend to that happen on campus. So it is really up to each student how involved they want to get and how much they want to do with their college. But if they have the desire, the will, and want to, we absolutely have tons of different leadership organizations, programs, different things they can go and do and be a part of and really enhance that college experience so they're not just kind of sitting around like, I don't have anything to do or nervous about being away from home for college.
Now, are those opportunities available at all the various campuses, right? Whether I'm at Brenham or whether I'm in Bryan or College Station?
Yeah, so each campus is going to have their own different organizations. So each campus will offer their own different things. And of course, like obviously if you're at the Brenham campus, you're going to have a little bit of a different experience than if you're at the Bryan campus because our sports are going to be at Brenham, the band is at Brenham, the livestock's at Brenham. So you have a lot more of that traditional university college type experience there with more of those type of programs going to be at Brenham. But at the Bryan campus and at the Rellis campus, they still have tons of different organizations and leadership stuff that they can get into based off of their degree program, maybe their likes or dislikes. And the nice and the really awesome cool thing is if there is a club that they're wanting and it's not done, they can create that club. They go to the SLA Center and they sit down and they will help them create a club and get a sponsor and those things. And so there's a little bit of something for everybody. And if there's not something there and you have the initiative and you want to take it, you can create it.
Okay. Is it too far of a stretch to say, so you kind of mentioned if I want a traditional college feel, right? You mentioned the sports, the agriculture, like that's going to be more at the Brenham campus.
Yes.
But if I'm at the Bryan College Station campus, then you kind of alluded to it earlier. I kind of almost have access in some ways to like that Texas A&M, like what's going on, because Texas A&M's there.
Absolutely. So a lot of our Blinn students that are on that A&M pathway at the Bryan campus, they're housing with their roommates could be A&M students. And so they're so good at taking their roommates with them and they're like, hey, I've got the student passes. Let's go to the games. So they're all at the games. They're exploring A&M campus life with their buddies and stuff. And so they're really kind of starting that immersion into the Aggie culture and lifestyle. And so they're focusing more on I'm getting myself ready to go to A&M because that's why I'm at the Bryan campus. I want to be in that realm of things. Not to say that the students from the Brenham campus don't come do that either. They do. But a lot of times at the Brenham campus, you've got that all there under the Buccaneers. And so, our marching band's there, our theater's there. And we have theater at the Bryan campus too, but our theater kids, they put on performances and shows and you can go watch those as on the Bryan campus and the Brenham campus too. So, but it's definitely kind of depends on what it is you're looking for. What kind of experience are you wanting to get out of Blinn?
Okay. So Tiffany, you obviously get to work with a lot of prospective students. When you think about the profile of a student that is really looking at Blinn, what would you say that is?
That's going to be any student who just wants to get a higher education. We try to really make the admissions process and everything for our students as easy, stress-free, worry-free as possible. So we're not looking at GPA, we're not looking at class rank, we're not looking at your test scores. We just need you to apply. And so if you're wanting to get, even if it's just a certification, maybe you're not ready to go for 2 years, you're just needing a 16-week class to get a certification so you can get out there. We're going to help you. So what we're looking for are just students that have that desire and that drive to do something.
Okay. And I just want to clarify for our families as well, right? With, again, Blinn, you said you're not really looking at ACT, SAT scores, right? You're not looking at GPAs being a community college. But can you talk a little bit about like college readiness with TSI scores or different things like that?
Yes. So we do have to have test scores for the application, whether it's TSI, SAT, ACT, or College Bridge. We need something. Now, obviously, if you're not TSI passing, numbers aren't high enough to be considered college ready on those scores, then we put you in a paired class, and that will satisfy that college readiness there. Otherwise, if your TSI scores, your SAT scores are high enough to meet that standard minimum of college ready, then you're ready to just go straight into your courses that you need to take. But even if you don't have that college readiness with those test scores, we're still going to help you get there. And so that's one thing that I really do love about Blinn. You don't have to stress out, well, I didn't score high enough on my SAT, so how am I going to do this? That's okay. We're going to help you get there. We're going to give you those resources. We're going to put you in those classes so you can pass them and make you college ready. Yeah,
and I want to unpack that a little bit more. What does that academic support look like for a Blinn student, right? So once I get there, right? Yeah. So whether my goal is I'm going to transfer to A&M, right? Or as I'm sitting in these academic classes and I need academic support, what's available for me?
So we have tons of different resources and supports at all of our Blinn campus. We have the tutoring center, the learning center, the writing center. We have the SLA center, like I talked about. They do mock interviews for you there if you need help with that. And what's really good about all of our centers, and our library has tons of resources too, is they're all degree-led tutors and people helping you there. So you don't have to make appointments. You just walk in and they're going to sit down with you and they're going to help you with whatever it is you need. If you've written a paper and you're just like, hey, I just want to make sure I did my citations right, or maybe I didn't do this right, or I didn't format this right, can you help me? They're going to sit down and they're going to help you with that. And they're going to even look at your citations to make sure that you don't get flagged for plagiarism. So all of our resources, and that's all included in your tuition. So you're not paying an additional fee or cost for any of that. You just show up, just go. And they're there to help you, support you, and they want to see you succeed. We want our students to succeed and strive and have a good experience while they're with us at Blinn.
Yeah, and I love that, right? Because we've talked about this before. You mentioned 40% cheaper than an A&M price tag at the very beginning. Smaller class sizes, academic support with some pathways that would get a student into A&M if that were their goal, right?
Absolutely.
And then on the career side, if I were to pursue Blinn, and so maybe I'm not looking to transfer, but I'm looking at certification or workforce, what sort of connection pieces are there with like job placement once I'm done at Blinn?
So our professors are so good at being available for their students even after they've graduated to help them, whether it's with job placement or I like to use my son as an example because he just graduated from Blinn in our real estate program. And he is signing up to take his board exams right now. And he had a hiccup when he was going in there and he was just like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. So he reached out to the department head of the real estate program, Justin Nobles, and his professor emailed him right back, even went a step further to email the state boards to figure out what it is they're needing and said, hey, you need anything, I'm here for you, and I can't wait to work with you professionally as well, and if you need anything. So I think that's really good. That really shows that our professors are really invested in their students, and they're really there for them even after graduation to help them with anything that they need or give them leads or whatever it is that they're having to face after they're done with Blinn themselves.
Okay. So Tiffany, we're closing up on our time here, but I want to get a couple more things. If you could give one piece of advice, you've obviously gotten to talk to a lot of different students that are looking at their college journey, right? They're looking at, what am I going to do? If you could give one piece of advice to those students that might be thinking about Blinn or not sure, like what advice would you give them?
My biggest piece of advice for any student, either whether you're starting as a freshman or you're at a junior or senior and you're still trying to figure it out, is stay that well-rounded student. Don't hyper focus on the academics to where you don't do anything else, because being well-rounded is going to help you be more successful when you do go to college. So make sure you keep your grades up, but make sure you volunteer too. If you are able and have the ability to hold a job, work. Those are all things that you're going to have to learn to juggle outside of high school, even if you come to Blinn or if you're going straight into the workforce or whatever. That would be my biggest advice to them. Stay well-rounded and make sure that don't focus, I've just got to make sure I do it all while I'm in high school because it looks good for that application, and then I drop it all when I graduate, because you still got to be able to stay well-rounded.
Okay. Obviously, we also have a lot of parents that like to support our students as they think about this journey, right? And so if you could give a piece of advice to parents who are supporting their kids as they think about life after high school, what would that be?
So as a parent, it's so hard to want to let the kids go and let them spread their wings and stuff. But I would say, number one, make sure they have that FERPA on file, because we get lots of phone calls from parents and they're like, well, but I'm paying the bill. I understand, but we don't have a FERPA. We can't give you that information. So make sure they have those FERPAs on file, so when they do call and they do need to talk about their kids' accounts, legally we can talk to them. And then support them in their college journey. If they're having a problem or something, help direct them where they can go to find those answers so they can start learning how to navigate this on their own as well, and be that support system for them. Don't necessarily take over. Let them figure it out on their own, but with your guidance.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you did bring up that FERPA release, right? And just to make sure people know, so FERPA is that law that says that once a student enrolls in higher ed, turns 18, then they're then responsible for their educational journey, right?
Yeah.
So you might be a well-meaning parent, but without that FERPA release, the college, and it's not just a Blinn thing,
no,
right? But they're not going to be able to get any information because by law you can't.
No, and that's, a lot of parents don't know that. They don't realize that is even a thing. And so when they call us and we're like, I'm sorry, we don't have a FERPA on your file, and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, well, this is what it is, and this is how you can have your student do it. And talk to your kid about it and why that is so important to keep it on there.
Yeah, at minimum, if you as a parent are paying for their school.
I want that FERPA. And you have to renew that FERPA. And I always say, make sure you talk to your student as to why it's important, because they can revoke that FERPA. They can pull it off if they want to.
Okay. So, awesome. Tiffany, if I want to find out more about Blinn, what would be my best ways to do that?
So we have a couple of different ways. The easiest way is obviously go to blinn.edu. That's our website. And on there, you can find about anything. But I highly recommend come to the campus, do the campus tours, see what Blinn has to offer. We have some preview days coming up and Blinn Fridays coming up, and you can register for those on our website as well. Reach out to any prospective student recruiter. That's what we're here for. We're here to introduce you to Blinn, show you around, tell you anything you need. We can even help you with your application, any FAFSA questions you have, registration. We do all of those things. But go on our website, blinn.edu, search campus tours in there. It will pop up Blinn Friday, our preview days, and it'll give you the different campuses when you can come tour it. And you can always reach out to a prospective student recruiter. And the best way to reach out to us is blinnbound@blinn.edu. That's our email. And we have 4 recruiters for Blinn. We have one on the Brenham campus. His name is Chris Sullivan. We've got one on the Rellis campus. That's Michelle Jambert. And then myself and Marissa Wood are on the Bryan campus. So we're your 4 recruiters, and we're here to assist you and help you with anything you need.
Okay, and you said that was blinnbound@blinn.edu.
Yes.
Okay, and I will make sure I'll put that down in the description as well. That way, as you're watching or listening, you can get that contact information down in the show notes below. Okay, so Tiffany, I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here.
So that's all the time we have today with the Advanced Learning Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on social media on X at @HumbleISD_ADV. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can be notified anytime we drop a new episode talking about anything and everything related to advanced learning. This is Dr. Tong Uticrit, and this has been the Advanced Learning Podcast, keeping you ahead of the learning curve in Humble ISD.